Good afternoon, folks. We are back live with the MSSADA podcast with President Keith Mangan and myself, First Vice President Matt Trahan. Keith, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm great, Matt. And just it's funny you just said that introduction. We're gonna have to make some changes for our next one because now you are the president and I will be the past president.
President-elect.
So
President-elect.
yeah,
You're still the
president-elect.
president as far as I'm concerned. Hey, so
Yeah,
here we are. We're talking about post-conference, right? We're
absolutely.
gonna do a little brief, year in review.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the conference. Keith, got to tell you, I know, as the president, that you got a lot of duties. You held it down this week. There was a lot of things that needed to take place. I think collectively, if you had to speak on our Mssada group, let's do that now.
Absolutely. So it was fairly easy for me, because I'm kind of riding the wave here. The work that you did as far as planning the conference and getting all the guest speakers and the moderators and all those sessions and getting that buttoned down early, and the preparation that you did and the rest of the group did as far as getting ready for those speakers and taking some steps to make sure that we're all set in the future here, as well as
Right.
like the technology aspect and things like that, having projectors and all the stuff that most people don't see.
Right.
We talked about this the other night, that it's, we got a lot of great feedback about the conference from folks, and people thought how seamless it went, and there were times we're running around trying to get stuff done, and not unlike our jobs, we want to make
Right.
sure our athletic events run smoothly, and we're running around and people probably don't even notice that stuff, but we're hard on ourselves to make sure we're putting out a good product. So, but between that, Mike Denise as our conference coordinator did a great job,
Yep.
and I think we had upwards around 80 vendors that were there, which was amazing.
Right.
But the big thing we heard from most people is everyone's just happy to be back in person.
Right.
So we very importantly, that I want people to know, if there's anyone out there listening today that we were reviewing, we were just talking before we came on today, and last night I was going over some of those evaluations and making notes on those, which are all things we'll cover at our next meeting. But
Yep.
we hear our membership, and we want to. It's important when you ask for feedback, then you're ready to take it and to move on with it.
Right.
But the LTC courses, the caravan, and the award ceremonies, our guest speakers, our presenters, everyone did a bang up job. It was awesome.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. And it's funny you say that because, people don't see behind the scenes. So at one point, again, we had purchased some new equipment for the speakers, and, about 10:30 at night, Fran and I are running around to make sure all of those things are set and where they belong, and, all those other things. But I did feel as though it ran seamlessly. As you sit back after the fact, a week removed, you feel good about it. In the moment, you just wanted everything to go good for everybody. And I think it did. Reading those, like you said, reading those reviews, I think we got great reviews. I think we've got some great feedback as to the fact that the topics were the things that people wanted to see.
Yep.
And they've already come up with some new topics. So we're going to do our very best to accommodate. And certainly I can tell you, I got some big plans. I think we've run a great conference. I think there's some bells and whistles we can put around it too.
Absolutely. And and that's the stuff that you always want to build on what the people ahead of you did. So we want to, we weren't there for this was our first year back in 3 years. So it was, my last in-person conference, I was the third vice president. So trying to make sure that, what was done in the past. And I know there are a couple of times we're like, oh, what do we do? Like just with the head table at the banquet.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I forgot all about that decision was made as far as the removal of the head table and just to have the round tables. But, now we have, got that note down, and we have our list, and we're working on our Google folder. We'll have all that stuff ready and those checklists ready in the future to make sure, we can get down there. And it's important for the board as well that they're able to you and I spoke about this, about getting stuff done in advance so we can participate in different events as well, which is
right.
important.
That's correct.
For our board. We don't want to burn our people out as well.
Right. Well, I agree with you. Big shout out, you, as you mentioned, Mike and others involved, got to throw a big shout out there to Tanya Rich. I mean, listen, at one point I said to Tanya, I go, you haven't stopped you need a break. Wherever there was something needed, she just jumps in.
Absolutely.
She's like the little engine that could. She doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And certainly a highly decorated AD, and you can understand why, because when there's a need, she fills that need. She's
absolutely.
Great.
And you know, and I think something's great that she does is that, you know, like there are times where we make corrections or we need to do things, or you know, there were messages that I sent out to the board or things like that, and you know, I rely on the people who are working as well. That if something needs to be done, you know, let's get it done. And if you see something that you know that I didn't see or that you didn't see, let us know. Speak freely so we can fix what needs to be fixed. But Tanya does a phenomenal job.
Yep.
You know, and just the stuff we're doing right now post conference of taking care of those evaluations and putting up the posting for the executive director position and stuff like that. You know, getting that stuff done, and and she's doing that with a little one at home. So you know what I mean. Like mine are in just middle school and high school, so it's easier for me to do some stuff at night. But you know, we're rocking, man. We're making great strides.
Great strides and great things happening. Great things are happening here because we are sponsored by the Gold Athletics. If you're looking, coach, listen, if you're looking, you need something, they have it. You need something athletically, you need something taken care of for your team, you got to reach out to Gold Athletics. They are the premium fundraising company, Massachusetts, across the states. They are amazing. Reach out, Matt Ross, anybody at Gold Athletics, you ask them, they'll tell you we're here for you.
Absolutely. And listen, I'm just about to place my order. I know we talked about this when we had them on. When we're doing the old popcorn fundraiser, my boys lacrosse team, and
love it.
You know, going back and forth. I did ask Matt, you know, down the conference. I'd love to see the Buffalo option get into the popcorn there. That would really make me happy. But we're gonna make another selection here, and I'll place my order so we get my popcorn order in.
The Beefalo. They come at me with like barbecue. It's over.
Yeah. So just straight buffalo. You don't need to get tricky.
No, don't get tricky. I got you. Hey, I'll have you know too. I'll have you know, again, not one to brag, okay, because I'm not that guy, but I will say, in tying in with Gold Athletics, had to cut a promo. I made it to the Final Four, coach. Made it to the Final Four of their big March Madness thing, and myself and another gentleman who I happen to know came in hot with a little wrestling. We came in with some wrestling, and I was shocked. I think it's more of an honor that they were accepting of the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Yeah, well, listen,
through me.
We talk about the Four Horsemen, and we talk about the creativity, and I saw your promo.
Oh yeah,
and that was outstanding. The belt and everything. that wasn't confused with the belt that Andy Christofoli picked up on Facebook Marketplace, was it?
Yeah, no. Listen, there's a difference in belts. Mine weighs about 30 pounds. His is about 10 ounces of plastic. So it is what it is. I mean, if you're gonna do it right, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the way it is. But
Absolutely.
they do it. Speaking of that, they do it right. They did a nice job with the national competition. They had a bunch of people out there getting to retweet and put their name out there. I thought it was a great idea. And you know what? I just happened to, be on my phone on a regular basis and follow it along. Never would I have thought that I'd get to the Final Four, but when you're there, what do? You go for the win.
That naturally. What else are you in it if you're not going to go for the win?
We're all a bunch of competitors, you know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know that. But back to the conference.
Yeah.
What I want to say to you is that, having been involved in a lot of different capacities with a lot of different groups over the years, I have to say by far, this is an exceptional group. Always consider, the people around you. I think with the executive board, the board of Mssada, there's some of the best ADs in the state of Massachusetts. Very passionate about what they do, and they pulled off a phenomenal conference.
Yep. Well, Matt, we've talked about this, and people who've come before us have said this. I remember Mike Roy saying this in his speech the last time we were down the conference, and we talk about it's very easy to intermingle with your people. You know what I mean? Right. Your district, maybe some other leagues and stuff like that around. But the opportunity to get out and meet people that you wouldn't normally have got to know unless you're talking to them at a state final or a state semifinal or something like that. More so now with the new TMC with the statewide playoff system, which again I'm a huge fan of and a huge supporter of, but. It's nice to be able to go around and meet new people and get to know people and learn from each other, because and I said to my family when I go away, I got the, hey, good luck on vacation. I'll have fun on vacation. And for me, it's so important to be able to have that time to talk with your peers and to bounce ideas off of how do you do that. And that's, a lot of the stuff that we've been successful with and that we've implemented here is stuff that I learned while we were down at the conference. So it's such an important part of what it is that we do down there.
I think if you're doing it right, Keith, and you are truly going for professional development, you're coming back with some nuggets, or you're coming back with a platform or a company that can best serve your needs. I mean, I had a long conversation with James Bunnell about a product that I actually plan on instituting in September, and he was a great resource. Tied me up with some folks that that I'm looking forward to working with. But that all just happened last week, right? So and then you go back to the national conference, which you take part in that, and there's always something there if you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, meet new people, and really put yourself out there, right? So
and for me, it was I got a good talking about podcasts, and this is a new thing that we're doing. And I know you're more of a seasoned veteran than I am, but I got to spend some time and break bread with Mark Rerick, and I was talking with him and saying how I was listening to his podcast, which is kind of on the back burner right now because of the guys have different things going on, but. During the pandemic, that's what I listened to when I was out working in my yard and traveling back and forth. And it was a cool thing. And then to be able to hear him speak the other day at the luncheon, talking about the core values. And that's definitely something, I took a lot of notes during that. And, I'm going to bring some of that information back here and we're going to work on that. And I think that's, very, very important. We talk all the time to our, our coaches and our kids about, having a plan. We have a friend who is at another school in the area out by me, and they came by the other night, and they're doing a fundraiser, and they're saying, will you buy one of these cards from us? And I said, my question back was, what does the money go to?
Right.
What's the plan? What are you guys going to do with this? And it was great that he had an answer for it. But even in my own school, when team coaches want to do fundraising things, so it's great to be able to share with people what you're raising money for, that you're not just collecting it for the sake of collecting it.
Right.
Having a plan with the core values and different things like that. Working, beginning with the end in mind and having a plan of whatever you're doing.
Right. I agree with you 100%. But, back to the core value piece of what you talked about in the podcasting. I mean, I thought it was great to meet Mark. He's been doing it for a long time. Does a heck of a job, does some things that I didn't even realize were, a possibility. I like the platform that we're using because it's kind of, I don't want to say dummy proof, but it makes it real easy as long as you have good internet access.
Which we've learned twice now when we try to do our remote sessions.
Yeah. You definitely got to be on home Wi-Fi or school Wi-Fi. But that being said, some of my best conversations, through Breakfast of Champions has been around that topic. Loving the kids that you're around and really sharing the values with your coaching staff. I think there's nothing more rewarding than that. Some of the things that he talked about are really intrinsic of, and really inclusive of what we talk about all the time. Just being good to people and you get that twofold back.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I really loved is the little nugget that he threw in there about the travel. And I know we've talked about it in the fall and the winter. We didn't have too much of a travel out to Holyoke a couple of times. I know you had a real big one. But when he put up that thing about that football game of a 5.5 hour drive, and then you cross a time zone, which I was like, you knew that, but it's not something we deal with here. And then I got, ended up getting back at like 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. I can imagine what that bill was to look like.
So when we talk about the travel, we're in a different place than many others. So, and all those conversations we had, that's the other piece of it. And that's kind of what I kind of wanted to sum up it, with our conference, the concurrent sessions, the classes, I thought were lights out. You can't underscore enough what you referenced earlier about spending time with your peers, having the conversation and realizing that we're in this together. Your problem might be very similar to mine on a different level, but we're all going through the same things. And then we support each other well. And it's great to have a good network of people that you can, you can rely on.
Absolutely. And then maybe one day you might end up with a piece of gear that no one else was expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you look good in that.
Well,
you look good in that. But if you want something really nice, I'm going to end with this. If you want something really nice, you got to get together with Gold Athletics. Gold Athletics is a premium fundraising company. They are the podcast sponsor of the MSSADA. You need something, they will hook you up. Gold Athletics and Matt Ross, check them out. Keith, this was a short, brief one, a little pop-up, little post-conference. We will be back together again, and
that next one's going to be pretty exciting, so I'm looking forward to that.
Sounds good, my friend.
All right, pal.
Bye-bye.